You know that new guy, Tom?
I can't believe he said that in the meeting. Right?
Oh yeah, he is a bit of a weirdo, isn't he?
So everyone talks about how amazing it will be to finally, escape wage slavery by winning the lottery or whatever, the freedom, the time, and the peace. But I don't know, there's something about it that no one actually talks about, something that actually concerns me. I want to escape wage slavery badly. If you've seen my videos before, you know that's what I'm all about. But it's not only that, like, I can finally see how I'll do it. It feels like the stars are finally aligning. Like it's my time now, Everything that I've been building these last few years, the books, the channel, the business, is finally starting to work. And if everything keeps moving in this direction, next year might be the year that I can finally quit my job for good. But there is one thing that concerns me. And I kind of hate to admit this because I've spent so much time talking about how much I hate working in an office, how much I despise being stuck in the same place for 8 or 9 hours a day. And that's all true. But the concern that I have is what happens after I escape? Even though I consider myself an introvert, I can't deny that there is a social element to work that you don't really think about until it's gone. You see, at work, you get human interaction by default. You don't have to plan it. You just show up, and there is always someone to talk with, small talks by the coffee machine, that coworker who shares your frustrations, or someone who laughs at your sarcastic comment during a meeting. You might not love these people, but they're there. When you leave wage slavery, you leave them too. Now, I'm not a loner in the sense that I do have my wife, our dog, and I have a couple of friends. And honestly, I'm fine with that. But when I imagine being a full-time content creator, just me, my camera, and my computer, I can't help but to think how quiet it's gonna be, how still. It's strange, right? Because a big part of me looks forward to it, no interruptions, no fake small talk, no unnecessary meetings, just peace. But there is another part of me that knows that peace can turn into isolation very quickly. And I've been there before. Oh, and by the way, if you've ever dreamed about escaping wage slavery, but also worry about what life after it really looks like, subscribe now. Because that's what we explore here. The full truth, not just a dream. In my 20s, I went through a very dark period of depression. I was single back then and completely isolated. No friends, no routine, no social contact. And that kind of loneliness, it changes a person. It makes time feel heavy. You stop talking, and after a while you forget how to talk. And that experience taught me that isolation is not peace. It's a kind of a paralysis. And that's why this is something that I think about a lot now, because when you transition into self-employment, you're not just leaving a job, you're leaving an entire ecosystem of social contact that's built into your day. At work, even if you hate it, you're still being seen. You exist in other people's eyes. You're part of something, even if it's meaningless. But when you work alone, all of that just disappears. And suddenly, you have to create all of that yourself. Now, this doesn't scare me, but I think it's important to be aware of it because so many people dream about escaping wage slavery without realizing that they're also escaping one of the last remaining sources of human connection in their lives. It's sort of ironic. You want freedom, but what you lose in the process is structure, validation, and company. The very things that, for better or worse, kept you emotionally stable. And you have to find new ways to replace that. So I've already started planning for this. When I become a full-time content creator, I know that I'll have to consciously nurture the social side of my life. I have to build connection into my new lifestyle because it won't come automatically anymore. So for example, I hate gyms. I always have. I prefer exercising at home. But once I go full-time with my business, I'm definitely getting a gym membership. And not for the workouts, but actually for the people. I think it's healthy to be around others, even if you don't talk to them. Just being In that shared space, hearing chatter, footsteps, music, it reminds you that the world is still alive. Because when you work alone, it's very easy to forget that. You spend hours staring at a screen and your world shrinks down to pixels and analytics. So yeah, when I quit my job, I'll join a gym. Maybe I'll take my laptop to cafes more often. Maybe I'll travel a little bit. But the point is, I want to make sure that I'm not building a cage around myself again. Just this time a prettier one. Because freedom is not just the absence of work. Is the presence of life. And I think this is something more creators should talk about because we all focus about escaping the system. Alex Hermosi and whatnot, they all talk about it, but we rarely talk about what happens after you succeed. And I've seen people quit their jobs, build successful businesses, and then fall into depression because they underestimated how lonely independence can be. So if you're planning your escape from wage slavery, don't just plan your finances, plan your connections, your network, because money will buy you time, but only people and purpose will make that time meaningful. So when I finally quit, I want to make sure that I don't just escape wage slavery, I want to escape isolation too. Because the ultimate goal, it isn't just to work for yourself, it's to live fully on your own terms, but not in your own prison. As always, thank you for listening. Do me a favor and tap that like button to show your support. Subscribe if you're interested in more content like this. Until next time, stay hungry, relentless, and strong in your journey of escaping wage slavery. Bye. Oh, you're still here. Oh, that's right. It's the behind the scenes vlog. So this part of the video is where I share more personal things. It's mostly for my subscribers, but if you're new here, you're more than welcome to stick around. Whoa. Hold on now. Tom, you were supposed to be on a break in November and December. What the hell is this? Well, this was my sneaky little plan to sort of trick the algorithm. You see, YouTube doesn't really let you take breaks. You have to post consistently, and I've seen this firsthand what happens if you take a break, because I do it every year. So this year, that's my plan. I have pre-scheduled 8 videos for November and December. I think autumn is my favorite part of the year, at least when we still have, the leaves, but when they fall down, it's like, I hate it. So I'm really enjoying this season. The obvious problem, though, is that when you schedule 8 videos, it's kind of difficult to edit them. That's why I've done them very simple edits. So apologies about that. Not my regular B-roll setup. What else? So I'm still working 50% and I get full-time salary still. And it's going to be for the rest of the year. So I'm blessed. And that's actually how I had the time to film 8 videos like this. I don't know if I could have done it if I worked 100%. But yeah, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next pre-recorded video.